live accent coaching on YouTube. This is for Brazilians who want an American accent and already speak English well, but are looking to polish that accent pronunciation side of things. I'll take some submissions of audios live during this live and analyze them, potentially bring people on live if that's interesting. But at a minimum, I'm going to take some live audios and analyze them, and here to answer questions and the questions and answers in the chat as well as we go. So what else do I usually say? This is every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Central Time. So come and join us one of these weeks. Check out the replay, join for a bit, whatever you can. This is a place to get some free accent help. And if you want private accent help, then you can check the link either below this video or in the link in my Instagram bio if you want to become a private coaching, a one-on-one accent coaching client. But otherwise, hopefully my free content, including these weekly lives, will help you either way. All right, so let's dive in. Let me make sure I've got the chat pulled up here. Okay, so let me drop the audio submission link here in the chat. Go here to submit audio for me to analyze live. So the link is in the YouTube chat if you want to submit audio, and then I can watch those come in. I do need to stop the Instagram live for a moment or switch to WhatsApp. Yeah, I don't have to stop the live, but it will pause for a moment because I need to reconnect my WhatsApp web, and then I can get these audios coming in live. So again, go to the link in the YouTube chat if you want to submit an audio for live analysis, and then we'll get things going once I have some audios coming in. Otherwise, feel free to drop questions in the chat as well, and I'll try to help you out, whether it's sounds or words or how to practice. Let me know what you're struggling with, what you'd like help with when it comes to accent and pronunciation, moving in the direction of an American accent as a Brazilian. Okay, so let me reconnect my WhatsApp web, link devices, link a device. Okay, connected. Let me go back to Instagram. All right, I'm back on the Instagram live. So again, I'm live on YouTube. Check the link in the special view of folded laundry over there. Go join us on YouTube, and you can join and get some actual free accent help. Link is pinned in the chat below. Okay, so back to YouTube. Check out that link. I'll repost it now in case you can't see it in the chat if you joined after I posted it. So just click that, and it'll open WhatsApp with a pre-filled couple of phrases that you can just send me a quick voice recording reading those phrases, and then I can grab your audio and analyze it live here, and so you can get some free feedback, and we can all learn together so from each other's audios. I can go ahead and share those sentences on the screen. Let me do that. I can start kind of coaching through the key things that people would tend to mess up are, and then we'll hear actual audios in a minute. Okay, so cool. These are the phrases. There's no voice. Let me know, can you guys hear me? Did I do something wrong? Or is it just for this person who said there's no voice? Let me know in the chat. Can you guys hear me? Or is something messed up? Let me know, please. Can you guys hear me? Checking my settings just in case. Output. Testing. Can you guys hear me? Please let me know if you can hear me or not so we can figure out if it's just the one person who can't hear me or if it's an issue I need to fix on my end. Please let me know, guys. I wonder how I can check that. There's probably a way I can double check. Let me go to probably open the live here. It's gonna get some weird echo probably, but here it's gonna get some weird echo. Oh yeah, no, it's fine. So I think it's just the one person who can't hear me, unless I'm wrong. But I'm gonna just keep going. So I open the YouTube live on my end and I can hear my own audio. So I think my audio is probably fine, and it's probably on your end at Total English Official. Okay, so I'm going to continue and assume people can hear me. Okay, so here's the 3 phrases. Again, go to this website. To actually send me audio of you saying these. Okay, so the engineering team, so these are focused a bit on the I vowel sound. There's going to be a bunch of other things like TH and stuff, but I'll go ahead and start walking you guys through some of the things people would tend to mess up in these. So NG versus G. Fini, so a lot of people would say fini instead of fine, finished. Finished, finished. A lot of people say installing instead of installing. So you want to imagine it's kind of like fechado. You can almost replace every letter I with fechado, kind of. Not 100%, but a lot of them. So instead of installing, instead of system. So even though this is not a I, it's still the same vowel sound. So be careful with that in system as well. Here in the word in as well. So not in, but in. 15, not fif, but fifth. And minutes, not min, but men. So the engineering team finished installing the new system in under 15 minutes. Finished installing system in 15 minutes, not finished installing system in 15 minutes. But instead, finished installing system in 15 minutes. Hopefully that makes sense. Some other stuff to play with here would be TH versus D. Let me double check if we got any audios coming in. Again, reminder to go ahead and submit audio and I'll analyze your actual audio live. Let me submit that again here. Because I don't have any submissions yet. Usually we get a decent number of them. So go there if you haven't submitted yet. If you'd like some actual free feedback on your audio, your speech, your accent, it'll just take you to send me a WhatsApp with a voice note reading these 3 phrases. Really simple. And you can stay anonymous if you want. And I'll just pull up your audio and analyze it live. Okay, so yeah, the engineering team finished installing the new system in under 15 minutes. So instead of de, we want to do the engineering. So this TH instead of like DDD, we want to do the, this TH sound, smooth continuous sound that doesn't stop. So not a D, but a the. And then this, instead of a or a lot of Brazilians do kind of a sound for the, but usually for my accent, for an American accent, it's either going to be a schwa, like a sound, or a e sound. And the difference there is it depends on the vowel that the next word, or it depends on what sound the next word starts with, whether it's a vowel or a consonant. So here it's going to be a vowel sound. And so I'll typically do an E sound here. So the engineering, the apple, the elephant, etc. whenever it's a vowel sound in the next word. But if it's a consonant, so the cat, the dog, the product, etc., then it's usually going to be a schwa, so a sound. The cat, and again, not the, but the cat, the dog, the product, etc. So you can see this again in these next two sentences. And, you know, the word the shows up a number of times here, actually. So you got this one, which becomes the, so the N, the engineering team. Also notice how it's not eng, like it would be in Portuguese, but instead it's N, with the tongue tip N, and a vowel sound, not a, but a, N, the engineering team. Let me just check on my dog real quick. I'm hearing some random noises. Keeks, c'est pas bien? She's fine. I don't know what she's doing, but she's fine. The engineering team finished installing. So the new system, because here it's not a vowel in the next word, it's a consonant at the beginning of the next word. So instead of the new, I'd usually do the new in under 15 minutes. Here, this, the is followed by a consonant, the digital. So the usually be a schwa. As pessoas assistindo poderem ter divulgado mais, vamos ajudar a divulgar. Pode divulgar se quiser. Mas cada pessoa é uma pessoa, tipo, pra mim o importante não é o número. Você que está assistindo é importante, cada pessoa. E espero poder ajudar. E fazendo bem feito, vai crescer. É só questão de tempo e sim, de divulgar melhor também. Eu não divulguei muito fortemente essa semana. But that's okay. I do it every week, every Wednesday. And I can experiment with different, promotional rhythms and things to get the word out more. But it's all good. It'll probably spike up to like 10 concurrent viewers. We're at 4 concurrent viewers right now. Usually we end up with somewhere around 10 at the peak. And that's plenty. It's fine. My goal is just to help you. Similar to how I view helping my paid, clients. I have 200,000 something followers, but it's the tiny minority of people who are seriously committed and willing and able to invest more deeply in terms of not just money, but time and effort. And so, yeah, this is not about massive, scale. This is about any one of you who wants to do this and go deep. This is about depth, not just volume. This is about you choosing to be part of a minority of people who want to be obsessive and go deep about accent. And so, yeah, no worries about the numbers. We'll just focus on being awesome. Okay, so the digital, there'll be a schwa instead of an e, because again, it's a consonant here at the beginning of the next word. So if it was the initiative, then it would be a vowel, but here it's the digital, so it's a schwa. Here, similar idea, it's a K sound, the clinical, so it's a the. Okay, so what else could we have go wrong? Team, some Brazilians might do like chim. So 2 things, the T might come out as a CH. And again, guys, I don't think I have any audios yet, which is surprising. Usually we would have a bunch of audios by now. So I'm not sure if any of you, you don't have to submit an audio, just I'm surprised no one has. So I'll just post it again here in the chat. If you guys want, I'll give you some free help. Just send me a quick WhatsApp link following the process there, a quick WhatsApp voice note, quick WhatsApp audio following the process at this link. And then I can give you some free accent feedback here in this live. But yeah, I'll keep going through like typical Brazilian errors here until we get some audios coming in. So team, instead of a CH here, like a chi, we want a T, team. And for this M at the end, we want to make sure you have your lips closing for that team. So you should feel your lips closing, your lips touching for that. If they stay open, you might be doing it in a Brazilian way, like in, kind of like sing. But we want to do team with lip contact, lip closure. Let's see, what else? Installing the new system. And under, sometimes we might have a instead of a or a ah or something else. But you want to do un as the target. So not but under. 15 minutes, good enough for that one. Digital marking. Digital can be tricky. So instead of digito or something like that, we don't want to do G, we want to do de. And same for this I, we don't want to do E, we want to do E. So digi. And again, this is not like G from Portuguese, like cidade, G, Deus. but instead d. So it's a D sound, not a like a DJ or J sound. Digital. And then here it's a dark L. So instead of a ow or something like that, o, ow, where you kind of do this biquinho sound at the end, almost like a O or U vowel sound, like you would in Portuguese, Brasil, ow, sal. Instead, we want to do a, please say the whole number 2 sentence, focusing on the increases in. I want to hear the S plus N blend. Yeah, sure. It's driving significant increases. I think I'd say increases in. So it's going to become a Z-I-N in the connected speech there. Increases in. Because this is a Z, but it might not always sound like a Z unless you have a vowel after it to connect it. So that's a good test to check if a final letter S is secretly a Z sound or an S sound, is say a word after it that starts with a vowel and listen to that connection. So sin versus zin. In this case, it's increases in. Instead of increases sin, it's increases zin. You can kind of hear that zin sound. Back to digital. Hopefully that answered your question. Let me know if it helped or if not clear, and I can try to troubleshoot. Digital. So yeah, dark L, tongue moves backward towards the throat, basically. I'm not talking about the tip of the tongue, but more the entire tongue or the back or the root of the tongue, kind of retracting back toward your throat. Ol. And lips, instead of doing a biquinho, we want to keep them more neutral, relaxed. And so instead of a O, we want to do ol. Digital. And this T will often become a flap T, which is like the R in para in Portuguese. So digital. Instead of digital or something, digital, digital. Marketing, similar idea for the T. It's probably going to become a flap T for most Americans. So instead of marketing, it's not wrong, but it's often going to be a ing, marketing. Initiative. Similar idea here for this T, itiv. I'm usually going to do a flap T like R and para here. Initiative. Digital marketing initiative. I think I'd say initiative. You could argue that all the vowel sounds in this word are basically a I sound, kind of like a fechado do português. Somewhere between that and schwa, varying. But you could do it all as a I. Initiative. And then the final, this is silent. But yeah, 4 I sounds. Initiative. Is, here again, don't say is, say is. Driving, this D, when it's before an R, can become kind of like a J. So in digital, we wanted to say, make sure you don't make this like a J by accident. But in driving, because it's before an R, I usually do this D before an R like a J. So driving, and Marjorie, I'm not sure how to say your name, so sorry. But you can send all 3 sentences if you want, or just pick one, whatever you want. I'll analyze what you send me. But yeah, normally I have people send all 3 sentences. But if you just want to send one, that's fine, whatever you prefer. The digital, so in digital, we do a D sound. And Delio, Hector, I'll answer your question in just a sec. Let me get this thought out and I'll come back to it. So the D in digital and the D in driving are different, long story short. And it's based on whether there's an R after the D or not. Similar thing happens for T. It depends on whether there's a T or a T plus R. So if I say team to ta-da, tonight, talk, whatever. All of these are this T sound, not a CH. And Brazilians often, before a E or U vowel sound, will turn it into a CH by accident. So instead of team, a lot of Brazilians would do chim. Instead of two, a lot of Brazilians would do chew. Instead of tonight, a lot of Brazilians would do chew night. But when it's before T plus R, then I actually do a CH. So that's when we have things like try, trick, truck, etc. We could come up with more. But I basically do a CH here, similar to this D versus D plus R, kind of becomes a J. I think we got an audio. Yay. I will check that, but I heard the WhatsApp notification. Normally I would silence that, but you know what? I'll leave it running because that's some nice social proof. We got an audio, everyone. Yay. But I will check that audio in just a sec and I'll pull it in. But yeah, so that's a fun fact about T plus R and D plus R. And let me come back to Delio Hector's comment here. So the in and increases, instead on, but I'd say in for that the in on versus the in. The in and in creases sounds like ing as in sing, doesn't it? Because I don't hear the regular alveolar n as in sin. Great point. So you'll hear, sounds often have kind of a gravity to them. Sounds don't exist in isolation in connected speech, and words where, sounds are all together. It's not just a sound by itself, but there's a sound that's before that sound and a sound that's after that sound. All the sounds are kind of pulling on each other, almost like they have gravity or a magnet. And so neighboring sounds influence each other, potentially even not just immediately neighboring, but yes, you're right that you hear something happening there. Kind of like how the N in Portuguese in manga, the G after the N pulls the N further back in your mouth than it normally would be. Where's the WhatsApp link? I'll share it again here. That is the WhatsApp link. So it says, go here to submit audio for me to analyze live. And then there's the link to saa.com/audio, or you can go to the full extended version of the link. It just takes a little more to type, which is simpleamericanaccent.com/audio. But the easiest way is to click the link that I just posted in the chat. So yeah, the in and increases because there's a C, the letter C here. That's a K sound, just happens to be written with the letter C. But because the K is done with the back of the tongue, it influences potentially this N and kind of has gravity and pulls the N further back in their mouth than it would normally be. So both in increases, which is basically N plus K, and in Portuguese, manga, which is basically N plus G. In both of these cases, the N gets pulled back by the following back consonant sound. So K or G are both with the back of the tongue. The N gets pulled further back than it normally would be in both of our languages, both of our accents, because of the following sound. Hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, increases. And there could be variation. It doesn't always have to be that way, but it's a strong possibility. So it could be increases with that tongue tip N, or it could be increases with a more, a backed N, an N that's made with the, basically an NG sound, an N with the back of the tongue. Hopefully that makes sense. I'd send, but you're watching your kids right now and they're making a bunch of noise. Oh yeah, no worries. If you get a quiet moment, feel free to send. If you want to send it with the noise, I'll try to analyze it with the noise imperfectly. But yeah, no worries if you feel like it doesn't work. This link just gave me the option to download the app. Other people are able to send it, so I think it's an issue on your end. I am not sure the best way to troubleshoot. But yeah, you need to have the WhatsApp app. If you don't have it, then you won't be able to open WhatsApp. Let me open the link on the screen just to double check it. So I'm going to open this and we'll see what happens. And this is on desktop. It's different if you're on a phone. But you'll see this, and you can either actually click this and open the link, or you can do it here and then open app or continue to WhatsApp. But like, however it works, you should be able to see some sort of options to actually open WhatsApp, and then you should be able to send it. And it should work on your phone, it should work on a laptop or desktop. So I would keep exploring that, and hopefully you can get it to work. Other people are able to send audios. I've gotten a few already, so I think the issue is on your end. See if you can figure something out. Okay, so I got an audio here.
The engineering team finished installing the new system in under 15 minutes.
Nice. So let me pull that into Audacity so we can get a little better analysis. Maybe I'll just record it direct rather than download it and put it in and that whole thing. So give me a sec here.
The engineering team finished installing the new system in under 15 minutes.
Okay. Let me make sure you guys can still see me. Cool. Okay, so
minutes. The engineer.
Let me make it so we can see both of these. Okay, so this is the audio for this one.
The engineer.
So you did a kind of a e fechado sound, the, or a e, like a kit vowel, short I, whatever you want to call it in English, depending on what we're thinking in Portuguese or English. I would not do that vowel sound here for the. I would either do a schwa, like so not e, but
the
engineering team, or again, because it's starting with a vowel in engineering, we have the option to do a the, so a e sound instead of I, the. We can either do a the or a the. So I would usually do the engineering team. Daily Vector said that on increase was a typo. Sure it was. Just kidding. No, that makes sense. No worries. No worries.
The engineering team finished and the engineering team finished and the engineering team finished. The engineering team finished.
The engineering team.
The engineering team finished.
I'm checking the stress on this kind of two noun pair. So we have engineering and then we have team, both kind of a noun, two nouns scrunched together in a way. Oftentimes when we have two nouns back to back in English, the first one gets more stress than the second one is the pattern I'm informally I've been observing. I'm not sure, 100% of the time, probably not, but I think there's a strong tendency for that to happen. And so I'm checking how you stressed it. I think I would usually stress engineering more than team, the engineering team. So this syllable here, the engineering, the engineer, near, or knee, this syllable would have more stress than the word team, would be one way to think of that, the engineering team, as opposed to the engineering team. That would only be if I needed to emphasize the fact that they're a team for some reason, but normally the default would be the engineering team. The engineering team. Okay, let's keep going.
Team finished installing. Finished.
Really good finished vowels here. The good job.
Finished installing the.
Same in. Great job.
And finished installing the new system. Finished installing the new system.
That though was better than the first one. This first one you did kind of a the. This one you did more of a the, schwa. So good job. On the second one.
The installing the new system and installing the new system. The new system. The new system in under 15 minutes. The new system in under 15 minutes. The new system in under 50.
So in 15, your I slipped a little bit. If I do a kind of a stoplight, red, yellow, green, where green sounds like a native, like an American, like me, and red is a thick Brazilian accent and yellow is a light Brazilian accent, we could say that your I was kind of yellow. It wasn't red, wasn't green, so you didn't do the full like E kind of strong Brazilian accent, like 15, and you didn't hit exactly the I kind of target range for what I think of as kind of an American range for that vowel. So you didn't do fi, you didn't do fe, you did fi, kind of in the middle. So let me open up my app real quick to show you. So if you guys want, you can go to 2sa.com/t or /training. Either way takes you to the same place, and you can see a free version of my app that I'm building. And in here we have a vowel synthesizer. Can I increase the volume on that? It seems a little quiet. I might be able to bump it up here just slightly. Let me see. Yeah, good enough. So it might sound weird at first because it's a robotic synthesized voice, but see if you can let your brain hear it as vowel sounds. If you're already hearing it as vowels, like speech, vowel sounds, amazing. But for anyone who isn't, let me kind of sweep through this to help your brain get used to it. And by the way, some of these are key contrasts for Brazilians. So versus a down here. That's the idea of like bed versus bad. Versus e is the one we're talking about here. Also in classic, curse words, bitch versus beach, shit versus sheet, etc. So here in 15, when I'm saying it's not red, it's not green, it's kind of yellow, kind of in the middle, we can show that visually here by saying you're not here. You're not here. You're here. You're somewhere in the middle. So it's almost like there's gravity at Fleece, this kind of E sort of Brazilian target. And the American target, you're trying to hit it, but there's such strong gravity or a magnet here at Fleece that it kind of gets pulled, almost like a big planet here is pulling the sound from Kit towards Fleece, and it ends up kind of halfway in between. Does that make sense? So we could even do like a continuum. You could learn to control this all the way down to schwa. You could imagine a line from Fleece to schwa, and Kit is on that line. So schwa being a more relaxed sound, like a and so if you go and we stop part way somewhere in there between Fleece and Kit, anyways, the point is there's kind of infinite vowel sounds. It's a continuum. So we could split up any distance on this graph into as many pieces as we want. And that can help to start opening your mind, your ear, your mouth to explore the world of vowels, because this is where accent lives to a big extent, is these subtle differences in kind of tuning your vowels in this vowel space. And this is like an abstract space where it's like about frequencies as the dimensions on this chart, but you can also map it to physically in your mouth where your tongue is. So this could be like back, when the doctor says say ah, it's because the back of your tongue. So this is like the back side of your mouth over here, and this is the front side of your mouth. And this is high in your mouth, and this is low in your mouth. So if the doctor says say ah, it's like the ah sound of the word lot or father. It's because the back of your tongue goes down. So ah, ah, so that's a low back sound. This one may be less obvious, but if the back of your tongue goes high, you get a goose sound, a ooh. Your lips also do kind of a bikini, but if you could see behind your lips, you could find a way to prove to yourself, if you can kind of force your lips open without changing your tongue position, that the back of your tongue is going high for goose, for ooh. And then for Fleece or Kit, you'll see that the front of your tongue is going high. So front, high. And you can actually see that if I come back to my kind of big video here. E, I, E. So you might see that the tip of my tongue is low, but behind it, what's called the front of the tongue, which is behind the tip. It's kind of a confusing name, but that's what they call it. So this is the whole tongue, by the way. My hand is the tongue. The root of the tongue is somewhere over here, back of the tongue, middle, front, tip, something like that. So the tip of the tongue stays low, but then as opposed to where the doctor says say ah, the whole tongue kind of goes down in the back. For I or E, it's the tip stays low, but the front of the tongue goes up like a mountain. And how high it goes is going to change the vowel sound. So that's where we get how high it goes is, again, this vertical dimension, this vertical axis on this graph. So E is your tongue goes even higher, and it's not quite touching the tongue of your mouth, because then it would become a consonant, but it's a vowel, so it's floating in space without touching the roof of your mouth, but it's almost touching the roof of your mouth for Fleece, for this E sound, kind of like in Portuguese. And then if you relax it a little bit, your tongue moves a little bit further away from the roof of your mouth, becomes a more open sound, a less close or less closed sound. You get a more relaxed version of Fleece, which is E, again, on the way to schwa. And so multiple of these, you can imagine it's kind of a tense and lax, or a more extreme amount of muscular effort versus a more relaxed version of the sound. So Fleece is a more extreme sound, Kit is a more relaxed version of it. Goose, ooh, is a more extreme sound, foot is a more relaxed version of it. Ah is a more extreme sound, strut is kind of a more relaxed version of it, and arguably we can even move dress in a little bit, and we can make an argument that ah is a more extreme sound and is a more relaxed version of it, arguably, maybe. It at least helps our simplified mental model here to have them all follow that pattern. Okay, so now we have a little bit of theory under our belt.
Under 15 minutes.
And maybe you can hear a little bit better now. Instead of fifth, this is fifth, but it should be fifth.
15 minutes.
15
minutes.
Hopefully that helps. Hopefully that makes sense. If anyone else wants to send in audio, let me know. I think this is the only audio I have so far. Let me check off screen if I have any others coming in. Just that one so far. So, I mean, that's helpful. That's awesome. And thank you for sending that audio. if anyone else wants audios, go ahead and send them in. I'll resend the link here. In case it's disappearing in the chat. And again, it's free help if you'd like it. Or you can also, if you have any questions you want to ask me, put them in the chat. If you disagree or have a, don't quite understand something I said, we can be accent detectives together. We can question things, be curious. So if you have a question, if you're not sure about something, whether it's something we've talked about in this live, about my analysis here, or about something else about accent and pronunciation that you've noticed on your own or whatever, let me know in the chat, in the YouTube chat, and we'll make this interactive. I'm here to help. So if you have any questions, anything on your mind, let me know and we can explore it. Otherwise, we're coming up on the top of the hour and we can end the live pretty soon if you guys don't have a lot of stuff you need help with today, and that's okay. Do this every Wednesday. We'll be back next week. But let me know if you guys have help. We can use this time. If you guys have questions, we can use this time. Let me see. I guess I could, while we're here, talk about the third phrase. Because I think I got through, well, I didn't even quite get through the whole second phrase. So I guess I'll continue with my kind of showing you things that Brazilians would often mess up in these. And then if any of you want to send in an audio, send that in and I can analyze your specific version of these phrases. But so for the second one, continuing with that, initiative, okay, I think that's about where we stopped, is driving. I think we stopped at driving because I was talking about D plus R. Significant. Again, you can make an argument that all of the vowels in this word are a sound. Significant. Even this one, which is not the letter I would argue I still pronounce as kin with an e sound. So significant. Oh man, the director said, I've heard many accent coaches say that General American, so a so-called General American accent, resonates in the middle of the mouth. What's your take on that? I have no idea. I don't understand resonance. I don't know if I just have a blind spot, which is very possible, if it's somewhat pseudoscience-y and people are just making stuff up. I don't want to totally say that, but I wonder sometimes, because sometimes I hear people about placement, posture, resonance, these types of things, seemingly saying conflicting things that cannot all be true at once for the same accent, for the same person at least. Yeah, I don't know. It's a big question mark for me, honestly. So I'm not the guy to tell you something with confidence about resonance, placement, or posture. I have more questions than I have answers, and I'm curious. I'd like to learn more. But yeah, that's something that still does not really make sense to me. I can look at specific vowels and consonants and look at where those are in the mouth as far as what is touching what or what is near what, like tongue position or the articulator position. So lips, jaw, different parts of the tongue, tip, front, middle, back, root, that kind of stuff. How nasal something is or not, neural versus asal. I said that wrong. Nasal versus oral kind of mix. How much air is flowing through the nasal passageway versus the oral passageway, and some stuff like that. Like we can break it down into those. Those make sense to me, and I can kind of prove to myself what's happening there. But resonance still feels kind of, I don't know, woo-woo, hand-wavy, hard to measure so far for me. So I personally have not found that useful yet. And when it comes to some of the resonance stuff, my suspicion, again, I could be very wrong. This could be just a big blind spot for me. So I have a lot to learn. But my suspicion is that maybe some of it is kind of a stylistic thing or something that varies from one person to another and not necessarily something that is essential for an accent. But it may be more about person to person variation rather than accent to accent variation. That is my suspicion. So like if I'm, singers might talk about, what is it, like resonance in the mask or something like that, where you can feel the vibration kind of more forward or in the mouth or nose or something. I think you could explore speaking with a bunch of different resonances, placements, postures, whatever you want to call it. And I think they could all be valid and all could be potentially used by speakers of a so-called General American accent by different people in different moments. That's my suspicion. Can always revise that in the future as I learn more things, but those are my thoughts so far. Carlos Eduardo said, suitcase. Could you tell me how to pronounce it as an American? So suitcase. First of all, not sweet or something like that, but think of the UI letters as really just a oo sound. Yeah, and basis of articulation, articulatory setting, mouth posture, there's scientific support in linguistic literature. Yeah, I need to dive into it more. I've looked a bit, but need to dive in more. It's just that there isn't much in the way of easily digestible lessons out there. Yeah, it's still... Yeah, I don't have an answer for you. It's an open area of investigation for me, personally. I don't know if you're still analyzing. I sent another one, but it's okay if you're almost done. I am almost done, but I'll see if I can give you feedback before I wrap up here. And if anyone else wants feedback, I can, again, try to... I've only gotten, I think, 2 audios total, both from one person, I believe, unless there's something else I'm missing. I'll check that in a moment. But feel free, if anyone else wants an audio analysis before we go, there's still time. I'll repost the link for good measure. Just go there, send me a voice note on WhatsApp following the instructions at the link, and I could probably still squeeze it in here. But yeah, setting, posture, placement, resonance, whatever you want to call it. I got to keep learning about that, but it still seems weird to me. Suitcase. So UI letters, think of it as just a oo sound. So a goose vowel, which can kind of have multiple sounds in it depending on how you analyze it. But suit. The T is often going to be a glottal T. So instead of suit, which is not wrong, I'm often instead going to do it as suit. So I'm stopping the sound in my throat, kind of like the end of the first syllable of uh-oh, like if you're telling a kid or a dog or something, oh no, we made a mistake, uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. You might be able to feel I'm not just going oh or uh-oh, uh-oh. Instead there's a more sudden stop. The sound cuts off at the end of So I'm not going I'm going oh. So you can replicate that. You have the ingredient you need. You have the building block for the glottal T sound where it stops in your throat in suitcase, the way that I tend to say it. So uh-oh, ooh-oh, suit-oh, suitcase. You could morph the word like that if that helps. But yeah, I'd say suit and then I'd say case. And so you'll notice there's no audible release of the T sound. Instead, you hear the release as the K sound. So suit, the sound suddenly stops, and it has that special sound for the stop. And then we move into the K sound, suitcase. So instead of going suit case, again, that's not wrong. You'll hear some people do that when they're speaking very clearly. But in everyday speech, usually I would say suitcase. You don't hear an audible release for the T. Instead, you hear that sudden stop, which indicates that it's a T. So I'm not saying suitcase, I'm saying suitcase. With that sudden cutoff, that sudden stop. The E at the end is silent, and the A is a face vowel, so kind of a diphthong, which we could tune to, sound less Brazilian and more American, based on the specific starting, middle, ending point. Same for the goose vowel. Both of those we can look at, as we get into the kind of beyond the low-hanging fruit and the most obvious issues. We could look at in sort of vowel space, hearing it or trying to measure it with formants and stuff, where your vowel starts, where it ends up in the middle, where it ends, that kind of thing, and compare yours versus Brazilian across a number of different attempts, different words, and that kind of stuff. And most likely, you're probably going to be doing it in a slightly different way than I do it. And then we could also consider, okay, what is kind of a range of like general American, patterns for that, not just me. But yeah, there would probably be a meaningful difference. So we could do a deeper analysis like that. But yeah, those are some of the basic ideas. Okay. So I think I can go to that second audio. I appreciate you giving props here about the first audio. I agree, it was great, good job. And I love hearing Brazilians complimenting each other about their English, their accent, because oftentimes that is not what happens. So yeah, I like this to be a space where we can be less judgmental and critical and more supportive. And it's like constructive criticism if there are gaps being noted. Because yeah, I think that is and I'm an American and maybe I don't have lugar de fala, but it's a thing I've heard from so many Brazilians. It's like, man, it's so often that's part of the judgment as a Brazilian speaking English. It seems like it's not even necessarily just about native speakers, but other Brazilians. So yeah, I'm really glad you gave props. That's nice to see. And yeah, they're well deserved. but everyone is, even if they're not as far along in their accent journey, doing great. All right, let me grab this next audio. So I'm going to mute this, go back to the beginning, hit record, mute my mic, and we'll hear the WhatsApp audio.
The digital marketing initiative is driving significant increases in visibility and engagement.
With some extra participation from your kid. That's awesome. All right, so I'll kind of cut out the beginning and end here. Is my mic back on? Yeah, you guys can hear me, right? I think we're good. Okay, so let me trim the audio a little bit.
The digital
Kind of hide this one a little bit.
management.
Your English is perfect. Always. Man, so many Brazilian adults that I know, clients, friends, otherwise, their kids make fun of their English. Because, yeah, you grow up in the country, you get the accent for free, basically. But then often the parents are, you know, got a little bit of an accent. It is what it is. All right. I'll delete that.
The digital market.
Okay, so we got a couple things here. Let me pull up the phrase on screen as well. Unfortunately, not Brazilian. I'm from Mozambique, Africa, but I agree with you 1,000%. Accent trading is fun. It's not a competition. Amazing. And I didn't know you're from Mozambique. That's cool. And yeah, I focus on Brazilians, but I think a lot of this will probably be relevant to you with a Portuguese language background. Maybe not all of it, because there can be some meaningful variations, even though there's a lot of variation in Brazil. It's an enormous country with tons of variation. Yeah, even though I make my marketing about Brazilians, I think in some cases other Portuguese speakers can be an interesting fit as well, depending on the situation. But yeah, I intentionally market specifically for Brazilians. If this is helpful for you and you want to become a client, that might be a possibility if we both feel good about it, even though my marketing is for Brazilians. But regardless of that, hopefully this is helping you. That's cool. Okay. Just wanted to address that. But yeah, glad to have you here. Okay. Let me organize my screen. Where'd my notepad go? There we go. So this will be sentence number 3. Oh, I think if I do that up, and then I grab this. Yeah, that works. Okay. Let me make a note of the time, right about 5 p.m. So yeah, we'll end pretty soon, but let me give you an analysis of this audio, and I think that'll be my last one for today. Okay.
The digital market. The
Nice. So yeah, improvement compared to this one from earlier. You did a "the" in the first audio.
The
And then this one is more of a schwa-like sound. So yeah, good job.
The digital market.
Now digital we can adjust.
Digital market. Digital market. Digital.
So the
Digital.
first thing is you did for this. Oh, it's sentence 2. Why did I go to sentence 3? So this G in digital, you're doing it as if it was a G from Portuguese, like gente, which is kind of a ZH sound in English, like luxury, jury, or azure. What we want to do is a different sound than that. So we want to do it kind of like a DJ sound from Portuguese, or like a G from like cidade, G, Deus. Or, yeah, in English, a J sound. So even though it's a G, think J. So j, j, j. Not j, but j. So there's a stop and an explosion, not just a continuous j, but there's a j, 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 j. So not j, 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 but j, j, j. Dij, j. So instead of digital, digital. In everyday speech, it might occasionally be reduced to just a j sound, but I would say the target is this J sound. So I want to make sure you're aware of that, and we'll often be able to hear that in speech coming out. So I think it's a real difference that I'm hearing here.
Digital marketing. Digital market. Digital marketing.
Digital.
Digital. Digital. Digital. digital, digital,
What I'm checking is your dark L at the end, what kind of L you did.
digital, 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 digital,
I think I'm not hearing an ol. I think I'm hearing you kind of go digit O and then moving to the M sound, digit om, or something like that.
digital,
Whereas I think if we recorded myself, we'd hear more of a digital, digital marketing, ol marketing. So that, tongue retraction, ol, dark L sound.
digital marketing initiative is marketing initiative is marketing initiative marketing initiative marketing initiative marketing initiative is
I think you deleted a syllable.
marketing initiative
Marketing. I think you kind of did marketing initiative. And I'm not hearing the I vowel here.
marketing initiative is marketing initiative
Maybe it's there, but it's kind of almost disappearing, which, natives might do that too. It's not necessarily a thing that is not a non-native thing, but it could be more clear.
marketing initiative is marketing initiative is
Let me try to hear it as if I'm listening to a native speaker and see if it jumps out.
the digital marketing initiative is driving.
Yeah, maybe it's fine. Maybe it sounds fine. So there's like there's different ways to analyze things, right? Like just like in Portuguese, if we're looking at para versus pra versus pa, it kind of depends on the moment. And sometimes people might overcorrect, including myself, depending on how we're analyzing things. So maybe it's fine to almost drop that syllable. I think I still hear it.
The digital marketing initiative is driving.
Now, as far as the vowels in that word, let's see.
Marketing initiative is marketing initiative initiative is initiative 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 is driving. Initiative
Ne, 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 ne. I think you're going a little towards a se, which might be due to the advice that I give, potentially if you're following my advice, because I often say use kind of fechado, and maybe that's kind of a fechado, like a more fronted sound, but I think my sound is not quite as front. Like if we go to the vowel synth, the diagram thingy, and I see we got another audio. I'll see if I can squeeze that in still. It's like that difference, maybe something like that. You guys can disagree, right? You as native speakers, like where the e fechado from your accent in Portuguese actually is, but I think maybe it's like in here where the red dot is, and I'll go back to the e, kind of where my e sound is in English. So they're very similar. It's a great tip to get you in the ballpark, but if we're being picky, I think there's probably still a slight difference. So let me go back and forth between these two spots again, see if you can hear a difference. So I think that's the difference I'm perceiving here. I think I'm hearing a ne, and I would do a ne, ne. So instead of marketing and ne, I would do marketing and ne, 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 ne. It's very subtle, but it's a thing.
marketing initiative is driving
I think, I could be crazy, could be overcorrecting, could be hearing things. You guys can always disagree. We'll be accent detectives together, as I say. But that's something I think I'm noticing here.
marketing initiative is driving significant increases in visibility. Significant 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 significant.
I think that's fine. I hear the significant. Nice. Yeah, I'm questioning if this is a little bit fronted like the Portuguese version of, e fechado as well. As opposed to or something. But maybe it's fine. Again, we could question, natives have a range of sounds as well. So it's like, are you within the range? Are you outside of the range? Sometimes it's a tough call if it's kind of borderline.
significant increases in
So maybe we kind of skip that one because it's very close. If it is off, it's very close. It might be fine.
increases in
Whereas here, we might have some other, low-hanging fruit, more obvious things.
in
Like in...
in
This can vary depending on the target accent, but I think I would do more of a I as opposed to a kind of a more E. I think you're doing a ing, and I think do a ing. So I versus E.
increases in increase
And then here you did the opposite issue. So I would do an E sound, but you did a I, which is common for Brazilians as well. So it goes in both directions. Brazilians often switch these sounds, where it should be I. A lot of you do E, and where it should be E, a lot of you do I. So yeah, that's fun, right? But yeah, instead of increases, I would do increases.
Chris
So not Chris, but crease.
increases in
But then, because it's a noun here, not a verb, I think I would put the stress on the in and not the crease. So instead of increases, because to me that's the verb version, I think I would say increases when it's a noun.
increases in visibility and increases in visibility
Increases.
increases in visibility in
And here's the connection you asked about earlier, the zin. We can clearly hear you doing a Z in that transition to the in here. Increases zin, which is perfect.
in increases in increases in visibility and visibility
Visibility sounds pretty good. Let me double check a couple things.
visibility ability
I'm not sure how we do it, and there's again variations. Some natives and some people call this the happy vowel, this kind of weak fleece sound, this E sound at the end of words, like happy, happens here at the end of visibility. So I think some people move it kind of towards I. And so again, you might be within the range of natives, but I believe I usually do a more closed sound like a E. So I think instead of visibility, I think I would do visibility, ability, ability. I could be wrong, but I think that would be a difference between you and me there.
and engagement. And
there, I think you're good. Let's hear the whole thing again.
The digital marketing initiative is driving significant increases in visibility and engagement.
The digital marketing initiative is driving significant increases in visibility and engagement. The digital marketing initiative is driving significant increases in visibility and engagement. All right, hopefully that helped. Again, feel free to disagree, question, stay curious, stay independent, but hopefully I'm pointing you in some useful directions. Okay, we got, I believe, one more audio. I'll make that be the last one. Awesome. Okay, yeah, 6-second audio. Let me record this one now.
The digital marketing initiative is driving significant increase in visibilities and engagement.
Cool. Pretty good. Thank you for submitting audio, everyone who submitted.
The digital
And thank you everyone for your attention, for being here. Hopefully it's helpful, whether you submitted audio or not. Here to help. Okay, let's see.
the digital marketing
Kind of hide this one, make this one a little bigger, trim the end.
and engagement.
Okay, so this is sentence number 2.
The digital
I think I'm hearing a D sound.
the digital
Could be an artifact of the way I trimmed it, but I think I'm hearing a D. So instead of D or duh, I would do, so not duh, 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 but instead I would do the, so that kind of smooth, continuous TH sound with less tongue pressure against your upper teeth so that it's able to vibrate continuously. The, and not the, but instead the. So there would be one thing, TH versus D.
the digital marketing the digital
I'm checking if I'm hearing kind of a J sound or a D sound. So am I hearing J or D? J or D? I think I'm hearing a J. So that'd be another thing is instead of j, I would do a d, 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 j, 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 d, 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 digital.
Digital marketing. Digital mark.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm hearing a J sound, kind of a DJ sound if you think of Portuguese, I think. But yeah, we want to hear a D sound. Like if you conjugate dar para de, e fechado, de, almost that. Digital.
Digital marketing initiative. Digital market. Digital mark.
And then I think the same feedback I gave this previous person in the audio before this is I think this G here should sound like a J, like a J, instead of a ZH, like a J. So not like a G, like gente in Portuguese, but instead more like a, what is a word with that sound? I mean, I said cidade, G, Deus, and I guess that works, but there's probably some other words we could use for that. Anyways, you guys might be able to come up with something for Portuguese references for that. But yeah, we want a J sound, an English J there.
Digital marketing initiative. Digital mark. Digital mark.
Or ol.
Digital.
Getting an M there.
Digital. Digital.
Digital. The flap is here, right? Yeah, so then the L. Where's the
Digital mark. Digital mark.
Okay, that's the R. So I'm not quite sure where the M is.
Digital mark. Digital mark.
Yeah, I don't think I'm hearing a dark L. That was my suspicion, but I don't think I hear an ol.
Digital.
I think I'm hearing more of a O, a vowel kind of O instead of a ol. That dark L, tongue retraction toward the throat. Lips neutral, not a bikini. So instead of O, I'm looking for ol, ol, o, ol, o, ol. So digital instead of digital. Digital mark versus digital mark.
Mark initiative is mark initiative.
There we did have a syllable deletion. I didn't hear marketing. I heard
Mark initiative. Mark initiative.
I think I heard all of this get chopped off, and I think I heard mark initiative. If I'm not mistaken.
Digital mark initiative is digital mark initiative is digital mark initiative.
Yeah, that's how I'm hearing it. Oh, is my audio clipping? Sorry if the audio is too. Let me drop this down a little bit. I don't know if the audio is clipping. Hopefully the audio sounds okay. I'll have to double check the live later. Or let me know if you guys know what clipping is. Let me know if it was clipping. If it sounded kind of low quality, like too loud.
Initiative is driving. Initiative is driving.
Maybe it still is. Yeah, I'm not sure. Let me just lower it a little bit more. I'm watching the meter in OBS.
Initiative is driving significance increase and visibilities and engagement. Initiative is driving significance increase.
Okay, no longer clipping. Hopefully it's still loud enough. Hopefully it's good.
Initiative is driving initiative is initiative.
I'm hearing a knee here. Just a little bit. Instead of a ne, I'm hearing a ni. So I'd relax that vowel a little more. And also, I'm giving you perfectionistic feedback. Please don't let this be overwhelming. You're doing great. I'm just being really picky. You don't have to fix all these things. And even if you want to, you don't have to fix them all at once. And even the word fix could be, we could question that. Because you don't even have to work on this at all. But if you're here, I'm assuming that you have the goal of trying to sound more like an American. If you don't, remember, you can do whatever you want. You're understandable. As far as understandability,
the digital mark initiative,
that would be where deleting syllables is an important thing to be careful of, because it's not clear that you said marketing.
The digital mark initiative is
sound like mark initiative. So for clarity, that would be, a priority.
The digital mark initiative is driving significance increase and
you said significance increase. So just like staying faithful to the text or whatever it is in your head you're trying to say, whatever the words are, being careful to not delete and add things.
Driving significance increase and visibilities and engagement.
And here again, you did visibilities
and visibilities.
So you changed some of the tenses. Oh, sorry. You changed some of the tenses between singular and plural, and you cut off the end of marketing to be mark. So as far as being faithful to the text and being clear about the words you're trying to say, that would be the priority. And then the sounds would be next in line. But as far as the sounds, I'd say you sound clear. It was just the issue of the kind of deviating from the intended words.
Digital marketing initiative is
So that's a words thing, not a sounds thing. Does that make sense? The sounds themselves sound clear, and then I'm just giving you perfectionistic feedback to get them to be more like my American accent, basically, or a so-called general American accent.
initiative is driving significant.
So yeah, an initiative, I would do initiative, and then significant, I would do significant. So both of these in that stressed second syllable, signif, you're doing a bit more of a E sound, and I'd say try to relax that vowel more towards an I sound.
Initiative is driving significant.
So initiative and significant.
Initiative is driving significance increase and visibility. Initiative is driving significance increase and visibilities and engagement. Initiative is and visibility.
Do I have a loop on? No. Okay.
And visibilities and abilities, 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 ability, 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 ability.
Where is that first? Is the L here? I'm not quite sure. It could be an illusion. I might be tricking myself, but I feel like you're saying bile. I'm having a hard time isolating it for sure to confirm it. But I feel like you might be doing bile instead of bile in visibility. So visibil, be, instead of be. So I'm not sure if you actually did that, but I think you might have.
Visibility, visibilities, visibilities, and
Visibility versus visibility.
visibilities.
Cool. Hopefully that's helpful. I think I'm going to wrap up. Kind of heard a slight epenthetic vowel after the G on significant. Yeah, let's check that. Significant. I love your feedback, by the way. It's clear that you are also fairly obsessed with accent and sounds and that kind of stuff, which is awesome.
Initiative is driving significance increase
Where does significant start? Is it here?
and visibility
No, that's a different S.
increase. Significance,
There we go.
significance, significant,
Yeah, I think.
sig, 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 sig,
Yeah.
sig, sig, sig,
Yeah, so what Daily Lecter is pointing out, I think, is a real thing that's happening. And so what that means, an epenthetic vowel after the G on significant, is basically that signe. If I do this the way I would normally do it, I don't do a vowel sound here. I don't go siggy. Like if you think of it as Portuguese, I'm not doing a gi here. I'm just going directly to the N with no vowel. Sign, 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 sign. Like I'm releasing the G, not into a vowel sound, but directly into an N. So tongue tip contact. Sign, sign. So probably there's gestural overlap. I think I'm using overly fancy terms, but are probably correct. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, if you think about what's happening in your mouth physically, the G happens with the back of your tongue and the N happens with the tip of your tongue. And those can move somewhat independently. So I think probably what happens when I do this compared to when you do it is I probably do the G sound, which is the back of my tongue going up and touching the roof of my mouth. So this is my tongue, roof of my mouth, back of the tongue goes up and touches for the G stop sound. And then for the N, I'm going to need the tip of my tongue up in the front of the mouth, touching for the N sound, which is kind of a stop too, but it's just nasal. So but basically there's going to be this switch from stopping the sound with the back of the tongue in the back of the mouth to stopping the sound with the tip of the tongue in the front of the mouth. And if I have a gap in there where there's no stop happening at all, you're going to hear potentially a kind of a vowel coming out, g or g, on the way from the back of the tongue stop to the tip of the tongue stop. So from the G to the N, you're probably having a slight kind of gap in the stopping of the sound. So you're probably going sig, g, whereas I'm going sig. So I do kind of like an overlap. So before I release the back of the tongue for the G, I touch the tip of the tongue at the same time, like before I release the G. So it's sig, and I'm already like preloading the N before I end the G sound, if that makes sense. Sig, that's my guess of what's happening in my mouth. So let's hear that audio again and compare it to me.
Sign, sign, sign.
So instead of sign, I do sign, sign, sign versus sign, sign.
Sign, 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 sign.
Sign versus signe, 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 signe. You could also think of it as the number of syllables might be analyzed differently. So I do it as signe. That part is just 2 syllables here. Sig is syllable 1 and ne or nif is syllable 2 would be one way to think of it. So sig, nif, 2 syllables. And the way you're doing it is kind of like there's 3 syllables. So sig, gi, nif. That would be another way to think of that. But we want to make it just 2 syllables. Sig, nif, sig, nif. Another way to think of the G is that there's no audible release, or that if it's being released into or as the N. Because you don't hear the g, you don't hear that release sound. Anyways, there's different ways we could analyze it. I may have done that at sort of to an advanced level. I don't know. Hopefully that helps. You can let me know, the person who submitted this audio, if you want, if this made sense, if other things were helpful. My goal is to be helpful and useful, not to just say a bunch of fancy sounding things that don't make sense to you. So, or maybe it did make sense. Hopefully it made sense, but I'm here to help. Let me know. Hopefully something was useful there, pointing you in the right direction. And I think I'm going to wrap up. Let me know in the comments if there was a takeaway from today you want to share to document it for yourself, so it's not just in one ear and out the other, as well as for me to give me feedback on something that was useful from today, or for other people here. Feel free to type just a quick thing. What was something that stood out to you from today? Something new, something you hadn't noticed, or a confirmation of something you were suspecting or pretty sure about. Just something, some sort of output from today, so that you weren't just here kind of passively absorbing things in one ear and out of the other. I mean, that's cool too, but if you can, bring something to your conscious awareness, whether you write it down here or not, but I suggest writing it down, sharing it in the chat. Just try to notice something consciously that you want to take forward into your life from today's live. What is something you can do differently, something you can pronounce differently, something you can listen to differently based on the last hour and a half we spent together, or whatever part you were here for. So I'll give you guys another few moments here if anyone wants to share anything, but otherwise we'll wrap up. Whether you share or not, again, I'd encourage you to think about that. Nether Victor said, great tips. These lives are always useful, always fun to hang out with y'all. Yeah, agreed. And it's nice to see some of the same folks here, including you. Yeah, it's nice. And again, I appreciate your contributions. The things you write in the chat are insightful. All right. I think I'll wrap up. Good to see y'all. If you want private coaching, link in bio. There's also a link to some free resources. And otherwise, next live next Wednesday, same time, 4 p.m. Central. Take care. Tamo junto.